Hey, good morning, everyone, and welcome to the PivotBoss Pre-Market Report for February 3rd, 2017. I'm Frank Ochoa, aka PivotBoss. Here's a look at the daily time frame of the ES. You can see that price is basically holding within a very tightly coiled range right now. Very, very tightly coiled. It's holding below that 85 to 87 key zone right there. I mentioned before there's a major LVN that comes right in at that area, and so far the price has held below it for the last week. And pushing back above it would open up a continuation in the 2300, while remaining below it obviously keeps this thing within the range. We have a tight range here that's formed over the last couple of months, and what I've mentioned before is this LVN is very important. Holding below 85s here would suggest a continuation into recent support, perhaps 2250, with a shot at rolling back across the range. If the market can muster that move, enough energy to get that move, this would be a fantastic zone to look to defend and return prices back up. We continue to see an overall uptrending market, so pullbacks have been buying opportunities, but at this time, not a whole lot of participation, not a whole lot of volatility right now. 85 to 87 remains a very important zone to watch as a pivot zone for this market at this time. If we take a look here at the intraday time frame, what we mentioned in the previous session was watch prices up here between 77, 78, 76.5 to 77.5 for signs of rejections. And you can see how price came into that area several times and saw rotation after rotation after rotation into that off that zone. So a very important area. 77.5 continues to be a major pivot, and right now prices are holding just above that zone. Higher high rejection at this time. Any failure to hold 77s would rotate prices back to 70. Right now, 70 has been an area to defend for bulls for a rotation back up. That's the short-term trading range at this time. If we take a look at crude oil, again, crude oil attempted a push beyond 54s and again was rejected. So 54s continue to be a major area of resistance here. Every time price gets into or above that zone, you see major rejections day after day after day. The previous session, we saw another one of those rejections, and that was one of the biggest pushes we've seen beyond 54s in a while. 54.34 was the high, rejected back down, and you're starting to see some rejection off of 54 now here intraday. So at the moment, 54 continues to be an area where bears are positioned, and pullbacks could push this thing right back to composite value here, which is 53s. That's micro composite VPOC. So 53s could be the next target down here if 54s continue to be rejected. And we still have higher lows coming in. So should price be retested here into the previous month's close, we could see another opportunity back toward 54. On an intraday basis, it's much better. We've had some significant moves on an intraday basis, a lot of great moves back and forth off of some of these key levels. We were looking for a rejection the previous session. After price formed this range, we were looking for selling pressure downward. We were looking for a retest and a push into 54.30. We got that move, and then we were looking for the counter move back toward 53.80, and we saw that happen. So a nice range has formed now from 53.40 to about 54s. Look to fade those edges. So if price gets up into 54, 54.10, look for a rejection back toward 53.75s. Likewise, if price gets down into 53.40, it could be an opportunity to bring it back to 53.75. This is a zone that's heavily offered right now by bears. So the goal is to eventually push price through 53.40 and push it down into the next support zone, which is 53s. All right, let's take a look here at gold futures. Here's a look at gold. The higher time frame of gold right now shows that exactly what we were looking for in our monthly outlook is so far playing out. We were looking for prices above 1220 to be rejected. And so price pushed well beyond 1220 the previous session, held, formed a range, and eventually gave it up, pushing back down. So that was pretty significant. Again, we talked about the idea that we could have some sort of expanding range or just a range in general, and rejecting up here would open the door to perhaps seeing a move back down. Now at this time, price is sitting right on the previous month's close. That's where bulls are positioned short term, but failure to hold that level would rotate this thing back toward 1200. So right now, keeping 1220 offered opens the door to 1200 on a short-term basis. On an intraday basis, Here it is. On an intraday basis, again, you can see how it played out above 1221, major LVN, nice little box that formed. Eventually, price broke below it, and bears rejected that area and pushed it downward. So again, rotations right now into 1220 and the 1221 could offer great selling opportunities for continuation back toward 1205 and 1200. Let's take a look at ZB. Here's a look at ZB. Looking at the higher time frame, you can see that price continues to honor this key zone here. This is our key level of 151.11. You also have composite VPOC shifted to 149.24, and right now that's the range. The previous session, 2 days, we had these lows here, we had a high up here, and right now we're inside that range. So at the moment, there's going to be a lot of battle here between bulls and bears. There's bulls positioned off of this low. There's bears positioned here. I mentioned that we have lower highs coming into this zone. If bulls can continue to win out here, we could see a retest of this high and followed by a move into value at 153.21. It all kind of depends on what happens here around 149.24. So that's going to be very important. Looking at the intraday time frame, the level here that bulls are defending, let me squeeze this out a little bit. Here's an LVN right here, 150 evens. That tells you that bulls are clearly positioned there. You have the previous lows here, and there's a nice little LVN here. So any push into 150 could be an opportunity to short-term bring it back up. The 149s also to be defended. So there's a couple of spots here for bulls to defend for a shot at returning prices back to 151.11. So that's the current range right now. And short-term, bears are defending the previous week's close. So that could offer an opportunity to bring it down short-term, look for rejection here, and then bring it back up. All right, that's it for now. Let's see how this plays out the rest of the session. Good luck, trade well, and happy Friday.